You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because you won't stop thinking about it. You know what to do next, but you keep thinking through the process again and again and again. Today's video is going to equip you with the tool that's going to help you stop thinking about the move and instead make the move. What is up? I am Natasha Bryant. I am a licensed mental professional, confidence mindset coach, your execution strategist, and you are joining me on Speed Like Transformation TV on the YouTube channel. And I need for you to first, before we get into what that tool is, I need for you to subscribe. Subscribe to this video or subscribe to this channel. Click like to this video, share this video, make some comments so I can see what's going on and so other people can also be able to get connected and hear the tip I'm about to drop. Because let me tell you, we're done with the overthinking. And that's what we're going to talk. The topic today is overthinking. And you are here because you've been overthinking the whole process. And let me tell you why you've been overthinking. Because there's this feeling, right? That, or this belief, let me change it, the belief, not even a feeling, it's a belief. There's a belief that I need clarity. Before I can make any move, I need to be clear on what I need to do next, how long it's going to take, what's going to happen if I make the move. I need to know all my options, right? And that need for clarity is causing you to keep thinking about, overthinking about all the possible chances and options that you have before you can make a move. And the reality is, you already have the options. That's the reality. Overthinking is making you believe that you don't have the options. You don't know what to do next. You don't even know where to start. When in reality, you have all the options. You have all the answers. You have what it takes. You have the information. But the second guessing and the overthinking is causing you to believe otherwise. The thing about overthinking is happening because there is fear that's trying to help you feel productive. The fear of making a mistake, the fear of failing, the fear of succeeding and not being able to maintain the success, the fear of disappointing other people, all the things, right? It's caused you now to overthink about what I got to do next. Because the idea, the belief is if I overplan or do a lot of planning and preparing, I can prevent that outcome, the outcome of disappointing others, the outcome of failing, the outcome of not being able to maintain the success, the outcome of not being enough, right? But really that productivity that you believe you end up you have is really avoidance. You really just end up avoiding taking the step because of what you're fearing what happened. So let's talk about what overthinking actually looks like. Let's actually go down the list, okay, of what overthinking really looks like. Overthinking looks like this: replaying decisions. You end up replaying the options you have. There's two ways. You could be replaying in the future and you can replay in the past. You could replay past decisions that did not work out. Oh, I gotta make sure I don't make that mistake again. I can't do that again. I can't allow myself to have that happen again, right? Because I don't want those outcomes that I experienced before for me to experience that again. Or you may be in the future thinking, I got to make sure I definitely make these decisions so that I had the perfect outcome. And that creates this belief, this desire, this need for perfection. Now you're requiring yourself to be perfect so that you do not make any mistakes, so that there are no failures. And now you get stuck in this perfectionism. And that perfectionism is causing you to make sure every I is dotted, every T is crossed before you make a move, which then leads to you making no move. Another thing that looks like overthinking, or what overthinking looks like: needing validation. There is the overthinking is like, what do I need to do to make sure that people agree with me? People understand what I'm doing. People believe that I'm making the right choice, right? People will not judge me and they'll be on my team. They will cheer me on. People will be there for me, providing me the resources I need, right? And so now you are doing all this pleasing to make sure that people are going to be going along with what you want to do, and or you making sure that you go along with what people believe you should be doing so they can still be on your side. So you won't receive any rejection and or abandonment. And now you're now making decisions that really don't even align with what matters most to you. You're doing things that matter, what matters most to somebody else. The final thing that what overthinking looks like, right? Overthinking actually looks like researching instead of executing. This is what's happening. You are doing all the researching. You're making sure that you have all the information. And this extra above and beyond level of information is to help you feel competent. Is to help to prove, right? It's this thing like, well, if I have all the information, then I can prove that I'm competent. I can prove that I belong. I can prove that I know what I'm talking about. And therefore, you don't make any moves because you're doing so much researching, making sure that you know all the information, make sure you have all the answers, that you don't move at all, or there is a delay in your movement. Now, that delay is actually something I want to talk about next. Because when you're thinking about all this overthinking, this is what overthinking is costing you. It's costing you missed opportunities. Overthinking causes you just to be in this freeze state, analysis paralysis. You've probably heard of this, where you're doing so much thinking that you don't make any move. And therefore, you end up missing opportunities. There's an opportunity right in front of you. And instead of taking it, you're like, well, wait, I gotta do this first. Before I can say yes to this, I gotta make sure I know this information first. You end up having all these prerequisites that are required, that you require yourself before you can even say yes to the opportunity. And then by time you have all those prerequisites met, the opportunity is gone. Another cost is delayed execution. You've set this goal a year ago, 5 years ago, last month. At the beginning of the year in January is one of your goals for the year, and you still have not even executed because you're doing so much overthinking. You're thinking through the process again and again. You're thinking about what I need to do right, what I got to make sure I don't do wrong, that you don't make any move at all, and time is just going by. You're looking back like, dang, it's been a year and I still haven't even achieved this goal. Another thing is costing you increased anxiety. The reason why this feels so overwhelming is because the overthinking is having you predict and assume the worst. And two things, right? It's having you assume the worst. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this doesn't work out? What if that work? What if this happens? And so it's causing you to create all these negative outcomes that you're now trying to plan and prepare for to prevent from happening, right? And then it's also requiring you to be perfect, requiring you not to make any mistake, requiring you to have all the information before you can move. And then that's causing you anxiety because now you're feeling like this is impossible. Now you're even questioning, do I even have what it takes? Another thing is costing identity erosion. Going back to what I was saying about how it starts to cause you to question, do you have what it takes? That is an example of that identity erosion. There's a thing called the the identity gap. Check out my Fire Friday videos. We'll talk about this a lot throughout the Fire Friday series. There is a playlist. Go to the YouTube channel, click on that playlist. There's tons of them, right? And I explain it in more detail. But when you are envisioning who you want to be, or knowing who you have to be in order to achieve the goal you have for yourself, who you are showing up presently is not that person because of the self-doubt, because of the second guessing, because of the overthinking. That gap ends up getting wider. And then you never become the person you need to become to achieve the goals that you need to achieve. Let's talk about the shift. Because we talked about the problem, right? But let me give you a tool that's actually going to help you make this mindset shift so you can actually start replacing overthinking with execution. The tool is this: one decision, one direction, one next step. This is a decision rule, right? Where you require yourself to first make one decision, choose one decision. Overthinking has given you lots of decisions because you've been thinking and believing that you need clarity. And so you've been doing all the research, you came with all the plans, but clarity actually doesn't happen until you make a move. And a lot of times, too many options cause you to feel even more overwhelmed because now you're like, what decision should I make? So instead of thinking of all the options, choose one option, one decision. And if you're confused or feeling overwhelmed by that, because you're like, girl, you're right. I got like 10 options, 10 decisions. I don't know which one. Pick the one that aligns most with the goal that you're trying to achieve. Pick the one that's actually going to help you achieve the goal. Pick the one that's based on reality and not assuming the worst or projections of the possible worst things that could happen. Okay. Once you pick that one decision, now pick the one direction. What direction are you going to go in as a result of that decision? Again, overthinking will have you think of all the different directions you can go in with this one decision. I can go here, I can go there, I can go everywhere. We're not playing Dr. Seuss today, okay? No Dr. Seuss. Pick one direction. Have the decision and decide what direction you want to go in with that decision. Again, if you're not sure, because you have so many ways you can go this way, you can go that way, you can go anywhere, right? Or everywhere, right? Pick the one that aligns with the path that's going to get you to your goal. And the final one is one next move. Again, overthinking will have you think of all the steps. It will have you think about step 1 through 50 and then have you worried about step 45 and you haven't even started step 1 yet, right? Focus on one next step. And that's actually the next step you have to take, right? Whatever decision you're making, what is the actual first/next step you need to take to even get moving? Now, have you noticed a pattern here? Everything starts with one. Because overthinking will have you thinking about 10, 15, 20 different options, which is why the anxiety ends up existing, which is why the overwhelm occurs. But when you allow yourself to refocus and reset and reassess and say, wait, let me just slow down. Let me pause. Let me just focus on one direction, one decision, one direction, one next step. Then you will then feel less overwhelmed because now you have a clear plan that you can move on. So that is something that can really help you just slow down and pause. Now, I hope that this was something that was helpful for you. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're tired of living in your head, and this is something that you are constantly trying to work on, right? Then make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can continue to get more and more strategies on how to get out of your head and start making some moves. Again, I'm Natasha Bryant, licensed mental health professional, but a confidence mindset coach. Make sure you visit speakliketransformation.com to learn more about my coaching services. This is what I do with high achieving women. I help them get out of their head and start making practical steps and decisions that's going to lead to them really executing their goals. Make sure you like this video and make sure you share it so other people can also get access to this tool. And stay tuned for another video that's going to give you some quick tips on how to be able to get out of your head and into some movement. Until I see you again, make sure you be unapologetic, be bold, and speak life.